My date left me while we're having lunch.
Damn.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I, 26 male, work in an engineering firm that has a small office in a large office building. 2 doors down from us is a physical therapy office. Although I'm an engineer, I kind of work at the front desk of this office, and I can see into the hallway through the glass door. Every day, like clockwork, a very attractive girl, 28 female, about my age, walks past my door at least 4 times a day. I'm concerned at how tracked you have this person. We had gotten into this pattern.
He did say he was an engineer.
Yeah. Oh, that is true. That's fair. That's engineer brain.
He's probably creating an Excel spreadsheet without even thinking about it.
Yeah. He's drawing out the engineering map. What do they call those? Oh, it's the blueprint.
Blueprint. Yes.
Bro, I just call the blueprint engineering
map. Wow.
That's accurate though. Anyways, we had gotten into this little pattern where we would just give a friendly wave and smile, and this lasted for about 2 months or so. And by the way, this comes from user datm.c. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Keon, and we are joined by a special guest today, Kevin Nahai, who is a life and relationship coach and therapist from Los Angeles, working with individuals and couples around the world. They've been in private practice for 5 years, hold bachelor's and master's degrees from USC, so he's a local guy, multiple coaching certifications, and are currently pursuing a PhD in clinical psychology. Please welcome him.
Thank you so much.
Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you, Dakota.
What's
Thank you,
the USC chant?
It's fight on.
Fight on.
Yeah.
And then everyone shakes their car keys.
Yeah, I don't know about the car keys, but I had to do a shameless plug when you said that I went to USC. I had to say, okay, shout out. You know, there's the whole USC cult. People who went to USC are obsessed with it.
Yeah, no, my girlfriend went to USC.
Oh, okay. Is she annoying about it? Like I am?
She's not annoying, but she's
Okay.
like fight on.
Yeah, I mean, listen. Yeah, when I got to USC, I was doing my orientation and everything. They would tell me like, by the time you're done with your freshman year here, you're going to be fully indoctrinated. And I thought I was immune to it, but here we are. I'm 33 now, and I'm still a full Trojan,
full-blown Trojan.
Yeah, once a Trojan, always a Trojan, right?
Well, that's what they tell me.
Maybe that was this guy's problem. He didn't go to USC, and that's why he got left in the middle of his lunch. Poor guy.
Should have got your engineering degree from USC, man. I don't know what to tell you.
No, I'm just kidding.
Well, let's see what OP has to say. Out of the blue, last week, I got a call at my desk saying, "Hi, I hope you don't think I'm psycho, but I'm the girl you've been waving at for the past few months."
Wow.
Okay. I Googled your firm's name, and I'm so glad you answered because I left my building keys inside, which are attached to my car keys, and since it was after hours, I can't get in. Would you let me in? Oh, okay.
Wow.
Well, I mean, okay. You know what? I'm not even going to judge that yet. Let's just keep going. I did let her in, and then her office was locked, so she had to wait for her supervisor to come down and unlock her office. I let her wait next to my desk, and we actually had a very nice conversation. It turns out we have a lot in common. We are both from Southern California. We both went to schools in our new state. We have similar hobbies, surfing being the big one, and we're both huge fans of the comedian Jim Norton and Chip Chipperson. We're also big fans of sushi. Instead of just waving for the last 2 weeks, she would pop open my door and do a chip joke. To most people, these aren't funny, but if you are a Chip Chipperson fan, it's the ultimate inside joke. Okay? I mean, we're getting a little bit of rapport developed here, I think, you know?
They both like sushi. They both like a comedian.
There's some overlying things,
Sure.
you know? I do question, it's like, well, she did ask you really because she's like, I'm locked out of my office.
Right.
And it's like...
And then he kind of took that as an opening. But I mean, good for him for using that as a backdoor to, try to pursue his dream, let's say.
I mean, it feels like there is a crack in the door.
Yes.
Feels like the door is cracking open a little bit.
Right.
OP continues, "She was cracking me up every day, and I really began to look forward to seeing her. Yesterday, when she popped her head in, I said, we should go get some raw fish or something." Again, a Chip joke that most people would not or even should not get. And she said yes. So today, we went to lunch at a really awesome hole-in-the-wall sushi place, and I thought we were having an awesome time. We had some serious laughs and talked some more. Towards the end of the lunch, she noticed a guy she knew sitting at the bar who appeared to be in his early 50s. She got up to talk with him and came back saying, "This is so crazy. I haven't seen my friend over there in a few years. Do you mind if he gives me a ride back?" I said no, even though I really did mind a little, and maybe that's petty. She reached over to give me a hug, which made it even more confusing because that was our first physical contact ever. To add to the confusion, she apparently paid for everything, including the tip, on her way out. I ended up sitting there for an extra 20 minutes waiting for the bill, not realizing she had already paid. I was left wondering what had just happened. Did I get ditched for a much older guy? Was she just being super rude? Should I have asserted myself and said that I actually minded that she left? Did she really just see an old friend? What do I make of her paying for the meal? Should I even bother to find out what went wrong, or should I just say our playful banter through my glass door is as far as our relationship will ever go?
Wow.
That's a good handful of questions right there.
Yeah, it is.
Do you have anything you would tell him?
Sure. First of all, as a general rule, what I always tell my clients is that you can either play mind reader or you can communicate, but not both.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it's a situation where you have a friendship or you have some type of relationship or you have some type of rapport with somebody, you care about your relationship with them, they're your coworker, you're going to see them every day, something like that, then I would suggest you communicate. You ask, "Hey, I got ditched. That felt a little bit weird. What was that about? Was there something that I did to offend you? Were you just in a rush to get out of there?" Right? But some form of communication, it seems vulnerable and it seems difficult to do, but it always gives you an answer, and any answer is always better than no answer.
Yeah, I like that. Any answer is better than no answer. That's definitely
Having said that,
keeping that one in the book.
there are times where, like this, for example, where you can avoid the person, or you're probably never going to have much of an interaction with them again.
Mm-hmm.
And there are times where it's better to just let it go by sheer virtue of the fact that the possibilities are so infinite. Like when he was asking, did I get ditched for an older guy? Or does she have a secret boyfriend? Or was she just in a rush to get out of there? You know, it could be so many things that I think sometimes it's better to just take the L. And it sucks because he was really interested in her and she did kind of crack the door open and she did agree to the date, and what she did was totally not cool. The one thing that I will tell this gentleman, the OP, is that it probably wasn't his fault. There probably wasn't a single action that he did that made her say, "Oh my God, I need to get up and get out of here right now because he's such a creep," or whatever. She definitely has some sort of backstory that we don't know about.
Yeah, everyone's got their inner life.
Exactly. Anytime something happens like that where there's no explanation for it, it's definitely because there's a backstory going on in the background that we are not aware of.
Yeah.
You know, because if she thought that he was such a creep or someone she really wanted to avoid in the first place, she wouldn't have called him to ask him to be the one to open the door about her keys.
Right.
She wouldn't have bantered with him in the office. She wouldn't have agreed to go out on a date. But that doesn't mean she doesn't have something going on in her private life that we have no idea about.
Yeah.
So ordinarily, I would say communicate with the person and ask questions and try to find out what happened. But in this case, because the possibilities are infinite and there's no way for us to know, I would say it's better to just walk away.
Yeah. I mean, if you wanted to play like the inference game, it's like, all right, well, if she really was interested in you and was really enjoying the date, she probably wouldn't have just left. So
100%.
regardless of all of the other potentials, it's just like, well, you're probably not going to be going on more dates with this person, and that's okay.
Exactly. Yeah. And I want to emphasize so that there's not such a level of shame or so that this guy doesn't spend so much time delving into introspection of what did I do wrong and could I have done this differently. I want to emphasize that type of odd behavior on her part is definitely an indication that there's something going on in her life that we don't know about.
Yeah.
But the end result is the same, which is you probably are not going to go on more dates with this girl, and it's probably best to just walk away from it.
Right.
How would you navigate? Because for OP, this is a person that he sees on a daily basis, in a sense, how would you navigate that?
So that's why I said if it's somebody who you know you're going to be interacting with, you know you're going to be having a relationship with, then you should communicate with them, because otherwise the awkwardness is just lingering and you still have to interact with them. I'm not there in the office setting, so I don't know how closely they interact, but I would guess that after she ditched him on the date, she's probably trying to avoid him out of embarrassment more than he needs to avoid her.
Yeah.
So if I were him, I would just continue doing his thing. Definitely don't go out of your way to wave to her or try to interact with her.
Stop building the Excel spreadsheet on like
Correct.
your interactions together.
But I think,
Probably.
Keon, that problem is going to be solved for him, because she now knows that she ditched him on a date and slipped out through the back door, which is a very odd thing to do. And that awkwardness, I think, is going to cause her to feel like she has to avoid him.
Ah, okay.
And my money is so on that it's like whoever that guy was at the bar, she did not even know that guy. Either she did not know that guy. She was just like, I now feel like I thought I was going to like get something to eat with like a friendly stranger, but now it's like it feels like this guy maybe is like into me, and I'm like, I didn't think that's what this was. Oh my God, my old friend at the bar, hi. And she's going up the bar like, I just need you to like, I need you to get me out of here. It's okay. We're just going to leave, and then you come back. It's fine.
That makes a better story for Hollywood, but my money is 100% on she knew that guy and he was not an old friend.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it was a guy, an acquaintance.
It was someone
Yeah.
that she knew that quickly made her realize she needed to get out of being on a date
Yeah.
with someone else.
Okay.
But again, the possibilities are infinite.
Infinite possibilities. Oh, well, let's get back into the story a little bit. OP continues, as you can probably assume, I don't have a lot of experience dating different girls. I had the same girlfriend from 10th grade until grad school and have not been with anyone since, so I really appreciate any help. And we do have some comments from the internet here. Comment 1, OP, I just want to point out that each little interaction you've had with this woman has been significant to you. You're describing in great detail these little insignificant events, and you describe them as a crescendo that builds to this lunch date. But you need to keep in mind that these same events may not be significant to this woman. They may just be small moments throughout her day that perk up her workday a bit. They may not mean nearly the same thing to her that they mean to you. So you just really need to keep yourself in check here that these things are all basically things that friends, acquaintances, or coworkers do without any romantic undertones. She could just be a friendly person that enjoys telling a joke to brighten up her workday, you know? Whereas this is the best part of your day, it may just be another part of her day. And there is a reply here. As a woman, I learned this the hard way. I very naively went out to lunch with a coworker, which ended in him propositioning me, a known married woman, with an affair.
Wow.
Like, no, I just thought we were work friends, nothing more. After that day, I stopped being so blind. Third comment says, she isn't being super rude. She even paid for the meal and gave you a hug. I hope she sees these posts and runs for the hills because you're one sensitive, overthinking bloke.
Wow.
You're the major red flag here. Well, yeah, that's the internet loves
Savage.
to make wide sweeping, claims about people's
Yes.
hearts and souls. But I don't even I can see this playing out in my head where it's like he's kind of infatuated with this cute girl who walks by every day, and he's got like the Excel spreadsheet, and it is like there's just this imbalance of like what dynamic and relationship they have is to him versus how it is to her. Like to her, it's just like, oh, it's this guy. Oh, okay, I could call him to get into the building. And he's like, she called me to get into the building.
For sure.
So you probably went on this lunch date, and she was like, yeah, sure, whatever. We're friends. And she picked up on a vibe that you might kind of be a little, obsessed is maybe a little far, but like you're interested.
Infatuated.
Yeah, you're infatuated with her. And she was like, oh, I'm not at all. So I need to extract myself immediately
he
from
heard
this.
the word date and was like, it's a date. Like,
Yeah.
This is my shot.
In which you did not ask her on a date. You said, we should go get some fish, some
she
raw
did.
fish or something.
She did. She's the one who's like, she said let's have some raw fish.
No. That was him.
He?
That was his chip.
That
chip
was
versus
him.
It was
joke.
his chip.
That was his joke.
And
Yeah.
she said, okay. Ah.
Listen, if I had to guess what the situation is, I think that she started building rapport with him. She realized I actually would be okay hanging out with him in a one-on-one setting. And then on that date, because she saw this guy and because there's something going on in her life that we don't know about, she realized that she had to dip. And it was very quick and it was very odd. That's what I would guess was the situation. All of these things are possibilities. What we learn in my field, I guess you could say, is that until you have the information from both perspectives, you try not to make any assumptions. Because if I'm sitting here psychoanalyzing this engineer, like the guy did who wrote the comment, I could say, oh yeah, he's an oversensitive, overthinking bloke who's wasting his time. I could say he's coming across as a creep. I could say, oh no, this woman, she just was having a friendly lunch and, you know, she's naive and whatever. We're making all of these assumptions without any actual information. So I think that people love to jump in and say, oh, this is definitely what happened because human beings cannot tolerate uncertainty. I made a guess of what I think the most likely scenario was, but I think the most important thing to take away from this whole interaction is, as I said, instead of being a mind reader, just communicate. And before you go out on a date with somebody, try to set yourself up for success in sussing out whether you guys are on the same page about what this is going to be or not.
If you think something's a date, I know if I thought something was a date, I would definitely want to make sure the person I'm going on the date with agrees
Exactly
with that vibe.
And the best way to do that, by the way, is to say, hey, I'd love to take you out to dinner, or I'd love to take you out for lunch. Are you up for that? Right? So you're not being imposing or obtrusive, but you are framing it in a way that makes the other person understand. You know, I have women say to me all the time, this guy asked me to hang out. There's such ambiguity around hanging out. Does he just want to get spicy? Is he just trying to be FWB? Does he want this to be a date? Does he just see me as a cool girl who he just wants to have fun with and talk about surfing and Chip Chipperson? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But depending on how you approach the person and the way that you ask them out, you give them the opportunity to either reciprocate or to politely decline. But at least they know what they're working with.
Right. Yeah. Keeping it very clear cut from the beginning.
Totally.
Well, we do have an edit here from OP, adding a little more context. OP says, about 6 hours later, after the lunch, she stopped by my office and apologized for leaving lunch.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I said no worries and did not quiz her about the other guy. I still don't know exactly who he is. She said she had a really nice time and asked if I wanted to come over and watch the Anthony Bourdain shows that are still on Netflix. Okay.
Oh my God. We should have heard this first before we were commenting.
Okay.
This happens a lot, Kevin.
Wow. Okay.
And yeah, just like you were saying, it's like we didn't have all the information.
Well, now I feel like an idiot because I'm commenting without the information.
Yeah,
no, that's
don't worry.
Totally okay.
We traffic in idiocy here at OK Storytime. She's literally asking you to Netflix and chill.
Definitely changes things.
I said I would love to. I just spent the last 3 hours hanging on her couch, sitting right next to each other, talking about surfing and all the exotic foods and places we want to go. We sat very close and our legs touched, but no kissing or anything. A little playful hand holding was as far as it went. Okay, you're holding hands. Look at this sweet little guy. He just doesn't know how to go about his business. He doesn't know how to take care of business.
Okay.
He's a little rusty. He's a little rusty. You heard him. He doesn't date much.
Just like, I just wish that I could date an industrial machine of some kind. He's an engineer. I don't know enough engineering terms. I flubbed Blueprint earlier.
That's okay.
You flubbed Charlotte's Web before, too.
I did do that. Anyway, let's continue. It was more like a nervous middle school hang than anything.
Sounds like it.
She hugged me goodbye again and said she would see me tomorrow. It was a very nice evening with a very cool person who I like a lot as a new friend and hopeful for maybe some romance in the future, but if not, I'm happy to have made a new friend with whom I have a lot in common. And there is another edit here. Yeah, let's just get this. I thanked her for lunch when she came into our office and said next time it was on me. She said, cool. Not sure if that adds anything. By the way, we're always adding to the number of full episodes with stories like this one that you can watch or listen to on your favorite podcast platform, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever. All you got to do is search OK Storytime. I think we have another edit here, a final edit. But before we read that, clearly this is actually going better than we gave him credit for at the beginning.
Totally.
But he does have maybe a little problem, pulling the trigger, or making things clear, like you say. Like, what do you have any advice on, like, someone who's like, like, I am into someone, but, like, I don't know how to go about it or tell them or initiate it. Like,
Well, I just learned that I put my foot in my mouth because I didn't have all the information.
there you go.
So I've officially lost all credibility with the audience.
No. They're very understanding.
Thank you. So for the next story, I'm going to wait until I hear the full context before I, start inserting my opinions and my views. Even though I fully said I try not to make assumptions until I have all the information.
We traffic in assumption here. It's unavoidable until we get to the end. And even then, sometimes you're like, did this person lie to us the whole time? But
so I was wrong when I said that she'll be so embarrassed that she'll avoid him. I actually give her props for stopping by his office and saying, hey, I'm sorry that I had to leave lunch. I think that's a big move. I still think 100% the fact that she didn't explain what happened means that there is something going on in the background that I do stick by. I'm also confused by the fact that even though she was in such a rush to leave lunch, she still invited him over for Netflix and hanging out. So my advice to this gentleman would be, most likely the best thing to do is, as I said, to take the L and walk away. But if he still feels like there's potential with this girl and he's still into her, then he just has to come right out and say, like, hey, I'm just a little bit confused. I feel like I'm getting mixed messages here.
yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah. I was just afraid. I have got engineering brain. It runs on Excel spreadsheets. I need to know what to put in the column for do you like me?
Exactly.
Is it a green box or a red box?
And do you want to go on dates? Do you just want to hang out in the casual setting? Are we just friends? Because
We did touch legs and pull and playfully hold hands
exactly
at your place while watching Anthony Bourdain.
Exactly. And, I think that depending on how you go about that conversation, it can either come across as very weird and awkward, or it can be very cute and very endearing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you're like, listen, I like you. I like hanging out with you. We went on this date. You had to ditch me, but then you invited me over, but then not much happened. I'm sure some of that is my fault, but I just want to get a sense of what's going on from your perspective.
Yeah.
Are we friends? Do you want this to be more than friends?
Yeah. Are we dabbling in maybe more than friends, or are we just let's
Exactly.
get clear.
What are we?
Because maybe they're both I mean, if she just like left that lunch in the middle, that's kind of an awkward
Maybe
thing
she
to do.
also doesn't know what she's doing.
You guys could be exactly on the same page about each other. That'd be so cute.
I come back to any answer is better than no answer.
Yeah.
Or any like assuming or like trying to mind read. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a client who I was talking to, a session with my client the other day, and she's dating a guy and she wants more communication from him, and she wants to get closer with him. And, she has this thing where she's been hurt and she's been cheated on and she feels guarded, and it's very hard for her to make herself vulnerable and have these types of conversations where she says, this is something that I need. This is something that I'm craving.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her, okay, your default is to be guarded and not to open yourself up and not to have these types of conversations because you think you're needy. By the way, you're not needy. You just have needs.
Yeah.
It's very, very important to emphasize that. What I said to her was, do me a favor. Have a conversation with him. Tell him what it is that you need. Tell him that you'd like to see more of X, Y, and Z. And if he spits back in your face or he shuts you down, which I knew he wasn't going to do because I knew enough about him from what she's told me, if that's the case, if it goes horribly wrong, then you can go right back to your self-protective mechanism where you don't do this anymore, right? You already have this default setting of I don't open up and I don't ask for things that I need and I don't get clarification because I don't want to seem, insert adjective. I don't want to seem overbearing. I don't want to seem needy. I don't want to seem creepy, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as long as you deliver it in the right way, open up to the other person, try to get some clarity. And if they shut you down or they think you're weird or whatever, then you can go back to being exactly the way that you were before.
Yeah.
You're not going to lose anything.
Yeah, not really much to lose,
Exactly.
because you can just go right back to that default setting.
But most of the time, what's going to happen is if you're honest and forthright with someone, and I really try to teach this to Gen Z people because I have a lot of clients in their late teens, early 20s, mid 20s, and they're terrified of coming across as creepy, coming across as needy, coming across as overbearing, as controlling.
Yeah,
So-
everyone wants to be chalant,
Exactly.
as chalant as possible.
Nonchalant.
Or no, nonchalant.
Right.
That's why. See, I'm not Gen Z. That's why I'm not. I'm just a millennial. I don't know how to be nonchalant.
Everything in Gen Z, I mean, in millennials too, it's not only a Gen Z thing, but in the modern dating culture, it's all about inference. It's all about dropping hints. It's all about seeming nonchalant. It's all about being indifferent, right? And all you get is going around and around and around in circles rather than trying to get information, collect data, get clarification. And that's how you build the foundation of anything. I'm not even talking about building a relationship. If you just want to build a friends with benefits with somebody, it should be spoken. It should be, the parameters of that should be set. From there, you're free. So there's 5 minutes of awkward conversation where you tell the person what you need or what you're looking for or whatever. And then you're free. You're both on the same page. Either it goes the way that you wanted it to or you didn't. But you're no longer shackled by this uncertainty and by this constant dance of trying to infer and trying to drop hints, which really gets you nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Communication versus mind reading.
Totally.
Communication's always going to be the way to go. Even if it's scary and might suck for 5 minutes.
Yes. But you will make it through that 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And the other person will be very appreciative. The other person will, most often they'll be like, okay, wow, like, I'm really glad that we had this talk. I was thinking some of the same things. Thank you for bringing it up. Thank you for telling me.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, let's get into this final edit here. OP continues, I get it, guys. Yesterday at lunch was not a date. You can seriously stop posting that and DMing me that I'm a nice guy, neckbeard, knife unaliver.
Oh my God.
Last night was more date-like, and I had to spend the morning at our main facility, but as soon as I got to my normal office, she stopped in and said she had a great time last night and wanted to know if I would come over tonight so she could make her paleo tom kha soup. She's making you paleo Thai food? You're in. It's done. You've somehow endeared yourself.
She likes you, dude.
Yeah.
She is about your engineering spreadsheet brain.
Night went so well, or the first day went so well, that she wants to give you her go-to dish.
Exactly. I'm engaged and I live with my fiance and she's never even made me paleo tom kha soup. I didn't even know what that was.
There you go. So you're in an upper echelon of
winning.
Yeah, you're succeeding. Things as friends are proceeding very nicely, and I can assure you I am not crazy and she is safe. She has been helping an older lady walk up and down the hall for the last 30 or 45 minutes, and every time she passes my door, they gave me a huge thumbs up. Despite all the naysayers, I'm going to enjoy the progression wherever it goes.
Good for him.
And that's the end of that story. Yeah, good for you. Oh, man, normally I don't feel that bad making assumptions.
I feel terrible. We were way off.
And that's a lesson in and of itself right there.
See, that's why I said in my profession, we don't draw conclusions until we have the information, and even I did it myself. So,
we're kind of putting you in a rough spot for that. We kind of put you right in the let's make assumptions fishbowl of the show.
How boring would it be if I said, Dakota, I would prefer not to comment until I have all the information.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
You guys would be like, we're never having this guest on again.
No, we do this all the time. It's a funny thing is we'll do it, and then literally the next line, we get so much clarity and the answer.
Yeah.
We go, oh.
We could have just read for another
Totally.
10 seconds. We've got some questions. Keon will explain with his beautiful voice.
Stop. So, Kevin, go ahead and since we're starting up a new segment here with fan questions, we'll go ahead and let you introduce yourself of who you are, what you do, just a little snippet, and we'll go from the questions from there.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Kevin Nahai. I am a life and relationship coach, therapist, and couples counselor. I do a lot of speaking. I do a lot of writing. I have a private practice. My office is in Beverly Hills, and I see people in person and virtually. I work with individuals and couples. I'm 33, and I was born and raised in LA. And I try to take a bit of an unconventional approach in my therapy. I try to be very personable and really get to know my clients and goof off a little bit with them and not have such an impersonal, formal wall. So I'm definitely direct and hands-on with my clients, but my goal is to lift some of the heaviness of therapy and coaching and have them walking out of my office always feeling better than when they walked in.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate you being here, Kevin. And today we have some questions for you from some of our audience, actually, from our community. So I think Dakota has the questions, and we'll go with those questions.
Let's do it.
Before we do that, though, I actually have one question. It
Fantastic.
just popped into my head. Do you have any clients who are like a lot older, or like couples? And then if you give them advice, do they give you like well, what do you know about that?
100%, particularly on consultations. So my youngest client at the moment is 14 or 15. My oldest client at the moment is 73.
Wow.
Oh, see, hey, never too old to grow.
Exactly.
And never too young to start. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Thank you guys for doing the shameless plug. So the vast majority of my clients, I would say, are between 20 and 40.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 33. Whenever I have clients who are older than me, particularly if they're married, they will always say to me, "Are you married?" "No, I'm not married. I'm engaged. I'll be married in June."
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, congratulations.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you. But no, I do not have 20 years of marriage under my belt. And when I have individuals like my client who's 73, who I met with yesterday, actually, they're always very wary. And what I tell them is, you do have more life experience than I do. You have been married and I haven't. You do have children and I haven't, right? But what I have is a particular specialty, which is interpersonal communication and understanding the psychology of how human beings work, how to communicate with them in order to create a better result, in order to work through conflict, how anxiety functions, how depression functions, how addiction functions. And all of this wisdom is timeless. It's also not my wisdom.
Right.
I have my own perspective, and I certainly have my own opinions, and I'm not afraid to give advice or give my perspective. But you could be getting information from me, or you could be getting information from somebody who's 57 and has already been married for 25 years. The information is the information. It's going to be delivered slightly differently based on my perspective, my life experience, stuff like that. So maybe to that extent, seeing an older therapist is a better fit for you if you feel more comfortable. But I've never had a situation where a client takes the risk, quote unquote, of coming to see somebody who's younger than they are. And after the first session, they say, "I just can't work with you because I feel like you're too young." As soon as we get past that initial barrier.
Yeah, just their perspective, the perception of oh, well, but this person's so much younger than me. What do they know?
Exactly.
Because the wisdom is timeless.
Exactly.
The wisdom, it didn't come, you didn't just wake up and you're like, oh my God, I had all these ideas. It was you learned all that stuff.
I wish I could take credit, and say that all of it is my wisdom, right? But yeah, that's a great question. And
it all came from the book of Kevin.
Some of it comes from the book of Kevin. I'm pretty, like I said earlier, I'm pretty, straightforward. I'm not the guy who's going to sit there and just say, well, it's like clients will ask me all the time, what do you think I should do? And I think the biggest disservice that I can do to them is say, well, what do you think you should do? That's not what you're paying me for.
Right.
Getting very philosophical there.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a big complaint that I that I hear from people is like, yeah, my last therapist that I was with for 10 years would never tell me like what to do. I'm not going to jam something down someone's throat, but if they ask me what I think they should do, I'm going to tell them these are the options and these are the pros and cons of each. And knowing what I know about you, having developed a relationship with you, this is what I think is probably going to work best in your favor. And that's why it's so important to really develop that individualized relationship, because like I could give relationship advice on this podcast or on this live. Somebody who has anxious attachment, what I'm saying is not going to land with them at all. Somebody who has avoidant attachment, what I'm saying, they might think that it's gold, right? But if I'm working with somebody who's anxious in their dating life versus somebody who's avoidant in their dating life, they might take the same piece of information and do two completely different things with it, because we see information and people not as they are. We see information and people as we are.
Oh.
So it's my
everything gets filtered through like with like your own
lens of your
cognitive
experiences,
bias. Yeah.
The lens of what's in your subconscious, the lens of what you have been through, the lens of what your parents told you, the lens of what you're rebelling against or reacting against that your parents told you, right? So if you're my client, I can't just give you, this is why I say that it's important, I believe, for me to have a perspective. And this is a total aside, but more and more clients are telling me that they're using ChatGPT for therapy.
Uh-huh.
I'm not an anti-ChatGPT person, and I think that it has a lot of benefits to supplement traditional coaching or therapy or whatever.
Uh-huh.
The one thing that ChatGPT lacks is a perspective, right?
Yeah.
So it's my job to develop a relationship with you, understand your lens, understand your worldview, and then tailor the program that we work on, or tailor the advice that I give you, or the emotional regulation that I work on with you through your lens so that it lands with you. And in that sense, I can't always be neutral. And in that sense, ChatGPT is also not always the best resource, because it has information, but it doesn't have that human touch of knowing the perspective.
It can't possibly nuance anything based on like what it knows about you, because it really doesn't know anything about you. It knows everything about everyone and what everyone would want to hear.
Correct.
And then it gives you that. Well, that's
and it
that's an
speaks to
interesting
you in a
thought.
very supportive way. It speaks to you in exactly the way that you want to be heard, right? It gives you this very supportive understanding. It's kind of like a butler or like a servant.
Yeah, that is butler, I feel like, is
Yeah,
the best vibe for that. Just a little butler in your computer.
correct.
Just trying to give you exactly what you want, whatever it is.
But I'll tell my clients, listen, if I'm really helping you, sometimes my job is to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Yeah, that is true. I
So-
very much believe that.
Anyway, I think we have
Yeah.
a story to get to. My
Let's
bad.
let's hop into some of these the fan questions. But that was great. No, that was, I'm sure we're eating it up here, Kevin.
Okay, good.
I'm gonna be honest. Fan question number 1 from an anonymous sender. They ask, do you think those who stay single not by choice but because they are waiting for the one are tactful, or do they just have impossible standards to meet? Do you think it's smart to only date to find a life partner instead of looking around and dating for fun? And at what point, if any, do you believe dating for fun is counterproductive to one's life or love life?
Amazing question.
Well, it was like 3 questions.
Yeah.
Kind of snuck 3 questions in, or layered the questions like a little question lasagna. But I mean, I personally think waiting for the one, it's just like, what is it? Like an antiquated notion, or like a pop culture notion that it's like there's just this one perfect match for you, but there's like billions of people. So it's like, I mean, statistically speaking, like the perfect one for you is in either like China or India.
Yeah,
It's like that's probably where they are, statistically
if you're
speaking.
going by the numbers game.
Yeah, if we're playing numbers. So, but that's just what I think.
How long have you been with your girlfriend?
5 months as of yesterday.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. Yeah. Putting Dakota on the spot now.
Thank you.
Look at that smile.
Thank you very much.
So I think this is an amazing set of questions, and it's right up my alley. When I heard that question, I was like, throw me in, coach. So I'll share some insights. So first of all, the phrase waiting for the one is very problematic in two senses. One is the word waiting. You don't wait for a relationship. You also don't pursue a relationship. You create the version of yourself that you think the one would want to be with.
Oh, I have not ever thought about it like that.
So in that sense, you could say that you're indirectly pursuing a relationship, but a relationship is like happiness. You don't pursue happiness. You don't say, I want to be happy. People say that all the time, but it's a misnomer. You do productive things such as exercising, going to your church, giving back to people, meditating, whatever. You do productive things, the byproduct of which is that you feel a happy emotion, right? But you can't directly pursue happiness. It's the same thing with a relationship. You can't directly pursue a relationship where you set your sight on this one person and you decide that you are going to persevere to be with them at all costs. I mean, sometimes you hear that sort of Hollywood movie ending and it's very cute, but in the vast majority of cases, if you want to be in a healthy relationship where you're happy with yourself and you're happy with the other person and it happens organically, what you pursue is being the version of yourself that you think your ideal partner would choose. So that's why I don't like the idea of waiting for the one.
Yeah.
Almost as if God is going to drop Prince or Princess Charming on your doorstep like a stork dropping off a baby.
Right.
It doesn't happen that way. It could be that if you are already in the place in your life where you're really happy with who you are, you feel emotionally healthy, you're happy with the direction that your life is going in, then yes, at the coffee shop, you bump into somebody who ends up becoming your lifelong partner.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. But there is so much that is within your control to work on in terms of how you think and how you feel and who you are and the direction that your future takes that you could be working on instead of waiting, right? The other problem with that statement is the one. Not because I think there are 2 billion people who you could be compatible with in China or India, right? I mean, I don't think that there's only one person for everybody. But again, I don't think it's that you wait for the one. I think it's that once you meet someone with whom you have compatibility and with whom you have attraction, then together you guys create the relationship. If you're looking for the one, there's an underlying assumption that they are coming pre-packaged, ready for you to consume.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that you're not going to run into obstacles and that you're going to be perfect as you are and they're going to be perfect as you are. And you guys are just going to fit together like a hand in a glove, right?
Yeah.
But it really doesn't work that way. What you need is a foundation of attraction, compatibility, shared values, shared vision of the future, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, you see, can I tolerate this person's issues? Are they willing to work on their issues? Am I willing to work on my issues? What are our speed bumps? What are our roadblocks? Are those things that we can negotiate so that we can have a successful relationship? So it's not that there's an infinite number of people that you could be compatible with. Unfortunately, that's not true. But you shouldn't be looking for the one. You should be looking for somebody that you're compatible with each other and you have a shared vision of the future and there's attraction there and there's interest and curiosity. But the way that you find that person is certainly not by waiting. And it's also not particularly by Hinge or Bumble or by going to this event or by going to this coffee shop. The how and the when you meet the person is not up to you at all. That is completely in the universe's hands.
Yeah.
What is up to you is getting yourself in a position where you feel like, I would want to date me.
Yeah.
If I could create a profile of who I think is the best match for me, and I could be in that person's head, I would choose me because I think that I'm pretty awesome.
Right. Yeah. So just building up the foundation of the self.
Correct.
Before like looking for like, oh, like this is the person that's going to complete me. It's like once you complete yourself, I mean like, whoa, and we're never like, we can always grow and get better. But like,
yeah.
Once you feel like you've like, oh, I'm someone who I would think is like ready
exactly
to be with, someone, then that person can come to you.
Then that person can appear in your reality. Exactly. Now, I want to give one caveat, which is you do not have to make your airplane a decked out 747 private jet in the sense of like, I'm 100% complete. I'm 100% have worked out all my traumas. I 100% love myself. Like, a lot of the healing and a lot of the growth occurs in the context of the relationship, right? But you do have to get yourself 70% of the way there in terms of being stable, in terms of being functional. You have to have some self-awareness. You have to work through some of your traumas. If you have addiction problems, or if you have a pattern of a lot of problematic relationships, those are things that you have to work through before you are ready. But I don't want people to think that they have to get to a place of completion where, okay, now I'm 100% on my own. Therefore, I am now ready to be in a relationship, right? Your airplane, as I said, doesn't have to be a decked out private jet. It just has to be safe enough to fly.
Yeah. Just got to pass FAA regulations.
That's a great way to say it.
Yeah. Doesn't got to be a G6.
Exactly.
You just got to be able to fly safe.
You know, this analogy kind of points to how people tend to fall into one of two camps. They either think, I'm going to wait for the one and I'm not going to settle and I'm fine being single on my own until the right person appears, which is not the right way to think about it. Or they think, I'm being single on purpose. I'm being single by choice because I want to work on myself and I want to make sure I'm 100% healed and complete and happy on my own before I'm in a relationship, which is also not the case. So we have these two very polarizing camps, and both of them are completely missing the mark. The truth is that you want to work on yourself enough that you are stable, that you are proud of who you are, and that if you were the other person, you would find you an attractive candidate. And at the same time, you do not have to be 100% healed or complete on your own in order to be in a relationship. Because once you get into a relationship, no matter how much ayahuasca you've done in the forest of Costa Rica, and no matter how spiritually enlightened you are, the relationship is going to bring up some of your traumas. It's going to bring up some of your problems. So you're going to have to address flaws that exist within you when you get into a relationship, no matter how much healing you've done before the relationship. Right?
Yeah, so then the caveat of them like, oh, I have to be 100% fixed. And then even if they do get to that point, you get in a relationship, now suddenly you don't feel 100% fixed anymore. And then it's like, oh, well, this is the relationship's fault, so I should stop this relationship and be perfect again. And then it's just the never-ending loop.
Correct. And then I'll throw another wrench at you, and I know there's a second part to this question as well.
Oh, yeah.
But another interesting way to think about this is if you were 100% healed and complete on your own, that would be the end of humanity, because a person who is 100% healed and complete on their own would not choose to be in a relationship because of all of the work and the baggage that it brings. If a person were ever truly 100% self-sufficient, humanity would die out, because that person feeling like they are so okay and so content by themselves would not choose to get into a relationship with another person where inevitably you have to deal with some baggage and some traumas and some roadblocks and stuff like that. So as much as we try to deny it, and as much as there's this movement of being 100% complete and healed and happy with yourself and stuff like that, the truth is that the main reason that people get into relationships is that as human beings, it is not a choice or a preference. It is a physiological, psychological, biological necessity. We need each other.
Yeah, it's like, it's not just an option.
It's not just
it's
an
like
option.
We are not biologically built to be alone.
Correct. And I'm sure I'll get roasted for saying this, but our society, for as modern and progressive as it is, has not yet outsmarted the wiring of our brains, which are however many millions of years old, right? And the wiring of our brains is that in order for our blood pressure to be regulated, in order for us to live longer, in order for us to pass on our kin, in order for us to feel happier, in order for us to be more stable, in order for our emotions to be regulated, we do need a relationship. Now, I've been single at many points in my life for many years, so it's not that you need a relationship from the time you turn 20.
Right. Yeah.
Right? There are phases and there are stages of our development, right? But if you really want to maximize the quality of your life and your emotional well-being, being in a relationship is not an option.
Yeah.
It's a necessity. That brings me to the second part of that person's question, which she said, are there times where casually dating, I think, or dating for fun is detrimental? And I think the person wrote, to what extent do you need experience in order to aid your dating journey?
Let's see. We'll just do a refresh. Do you think it's smart to only date to find life partners instead of looking around and dating for fun? And at what point do you believe dating for fun could be counterproductive to one's life or love life?
Okay. Hey, somebody just wrote, thanks for the free therapy. I'm learning so much. That made me happy.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Thanks for the compliment.
The chat's loving it, Kevin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. So this is a hard one. I was in a relationship in college from when I was 21 to when I was 25. We were together all 4 years of her college, from freshman to senior year. I was a little bit older. And I always think about this. I always think, was that relationship a waste of time? Because after being with somebody for 4 years, our families got to know each other. We became so close.
Yeah.
Then we had to break up. And then it was very painful because when I was 25, I wasn't ready to get married. Neither was she. It was sort of this moment where it's like, do we stay or do we get off the pot? So I think this question is particularly relevant and particularly difficult for people who are in their early 20s. Once you cross the threshold of like 28, 27, I think that dating for fun or dating casually is probably a waste of time and probably has more of a detrimental effect on your psyche than it has a benefit. For people who are approaching 30, I describe it as going to Baskin Robbins, 31 flavors.
Yeah.
By the age of 28, you don't need to walk inside Baskin Robbins and sample all 31 flavors to know which type of ice cream you like.
Legally, I could potentially need to do that at Baskin Robbins, but I see your point.
Okay.
No, I do.
Yes. So, I mean, if you really want to get Baskin Robbins for all they're worth, right?
No, I mean, but in the context of dating, no, I do. I see exactly what
Yes.
you mean by that. Yeah.
But
There comes a time.
how old are you? 26?
I turned 30 in November.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Wow, that just made his ego go through the roof.
Yeah.
No, actually, no. I've heard lower, but it felt good. It felt nice.
I thought you look young.
No, thank you. No, if I shaved this off, I'm sure it'd be even.
You'd have a baby face.
It'd be like, you're not allowed to be here without your parents. Where are they?
So by a certain stage of life, I won't say a certain age because that age could be slightly different, but by a certain stage of life, I do think that dating for fun is just causes more problems than good. What I always tell people is if you are not dating someone with the intention of being in a long-term relationship, you are dating them with the intention of going through a breakup.
Yeah.
Do you want to set yourself up before you've even made it to the third or fourth date to go through a breakup? When you think of it like that, probably not, because everybody knows all of the pain and suffering that a breakup brings.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
There's one exception to this rule. The one exception is that, as I said earlier, when you're in your early 20s, it can be beneficial to gain some dating experience.
Mm.
I think for me, the 4-year relationship that I was in was not a waste because it taught me a lot and it grew me up a lot. And we had a beautiful relationship, even though that it ended. So I'm very happy that I had that experience. The one thing that I would advance is experience is overrated and very easily abused. It's like alcohol. Most people who drink alcohol abuse alcohol, right? That means that most people who drink don't actually know their limits. they either drink too frequently or they drink too much, right? And alcohol is so readily available and it's so socially acceptable that people don't start to think about it, that people don't stop to think about it like this. Dating experience is the same thing. There are times, particularly in your early mid-20s, when dating experience can be valuable to teach you about who you are and what your triggers are and how you want to change and what you're looking for and what's important to you. But by and large, it doesn't mean there's no room for dating experience, meaning it doesn't mean you can never have a drink. But by and large, gaining experience is overrated because it is so readily available and it's cheap. So if you gain too much experience in the dating market, that's going to have more of a detrimental effect on your psyche than it is going to have a positive effect.
It sounds like it's kind of all about like your own, almost like the way you're going about it. Like if you're like, oh, I'm just dating super casually because it's like, this is like I'm collecting trinkets.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, it's whatever. But like, you know, if you're just
at a certain point,
genuinely
you're hoarding
putting
trinkets
yourself out there, yeah.
At a certain point, you become a hoarder.
Yeah, you got too many trinkets.
Exactly.
Too many trinkets. What are you going to do with them all?
And, you know, the difference is that trinkets can be thrown away, but all of these experiences that you've had, whether it's relationships or friends with benefits or people you've hooked up with or whatever, those experiences don't go away. You might have forgotten about them, but they still exist within you and they still shape parts of your psyche.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm not like some preacher or some pastor who's saying like, be a virgin till you're married. Like, you know,
Preacher Kevin says absolutely no sex for your whole life.
No. You know,
It's all right, Kevin. We heard exactly what you said.
I'm speaking from mistakes that I've made. I'm speaking from experience and things that I've had to learn the hard way and things that I've seen in my clients as well.
You definitely carry your whole, what am I trying to say? Not your perspective, but your presence is a very informed, like I'm losing it, Keon. Help me.
It's okay.
Help, Keon.
I get it. Thank you.
No, I trust
hanging.
exactly.
It's my job.
Yeah.
I trust exactly what you're dishing out, Kevin.
Thank you.
I trust this is very solid, informed information.
Thank you.
And we have another question. We have a question from Jamie Photography Chick,
I'm pretty sure Jamie's in the chat
who
right
may
now.
or may not be here.
What up, Jamie?
So, Jamie says, TLDR, I am a 28 female. I am a bigger woman with a few health issues. Most men either stay clear of me or only expect me to go to bed with them, which I've never done. My other issue is I have struggled with wanting to date again after my ex left me after roughly a month and a half, saying he forced himself to be in a relationship with me, and then just a few days later got with his sister's pregnant best friend, not his child that time around, and that relationship and marriage has ended with her having a kid with my ex and then getting pregnant with his brother's child.
I didn't even follow that, but
Yeah.
that sounds like a cluster.
Well, yeah, you definitely got yourself out of a mess there. I have a fear of something similar happening, but I'm also tired of being single and alone all the time with just my dog and I at home. That's on top of not having a ton of confidence due to my weight, problems with feeling beautiful in my own body. My question is, even though I've worked on myself and my confidence over the last 5 years, how do I overcome either the fear of trying to date again or with feeling alone until I am ready to jump into dating again? Gotcha. Thank you, Jamie,
Thank you.
for your question. And you may or may not be here, but thank you.
Well, first of all, I'm so sorry that happened. That's terrible. And that is the type of situation that makes people afraid to date.
Yeah, having seen something so just catastrophic.
Yeah, it's pretty traumatizing. And, you know, she started the statement from a very precarious position, which is, as it is, I feel undesirable because I think she wrote, most men steer clear of me.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she did have a relationship with someone who didn't steer clear of her, he basically ditched her after a month and a half, threw it back in her face, and then betrayed her trust by going on this whole bender with people that she knew.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing that makes me really sad to see, because it discourages people from being in relationships. And part of my mission is to help people feel safe and comfortable to get into healthy relationships. So I just want to say that I'm sorry that happened to you, Jamie.
Yeah, thank you. I think we've actually read Jamie's story on our stream before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was an entire circus.
Wow.
And it was, I think one of our chatters here, Caitlin Van Camp, had said earlier, he's like, yeah, the Jamie lore is crazy.
Oh my God. So, so Jamie's had a bunch of crazy stuff pop off.
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, I think Jamie should go talk to somebody. She can send me a message. She can find a counselor, life coach, therapist in her hometown, wherever you're located, Jamie. But I think that having someone to help restore some of the faith in the process and help her process some of what happened is going to be super helpful. Having said that, I'm Jewish. There's a phrase in Hebrew that says, Gamzel letova. And what that means is this is also for the good. Anything that happens to you in your life, no matter how terrible it seems, this is also for the good. Why is it for the good, whether you get a flat tire or you get broken up with or you go through something traumatizing? Because the thing that is happening, if you don't see yourself as a victim, if you see this as an opportunity for you to become resilient or for you to change something about the trajectory of your life, this is an opportunity for the correction of your own soul. Even though it's extremely painful to go through, even though I don't wish something like that for anybody, this is also for the good because our pain is never purposeless.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that random tragedies can't happen. And it doesn't mean that people don't do horrible things to good people.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean is, depending on how you see the situation, either nobody wants you and everybody screws you over and nothing ever happens in your favor, and then it's just a cycle of shame that repeats, or you view this as an opportunity to build resilience. And as I said, to become the version of yourself that you think your soulmate would want to be with. So this is a much sort of like higher consciousness way of viewing a really painful situation. And I don't mean to minimize the pain of a situation like this, but I do believe that the best way out of any difficult situation is to believe that there's something in it that was purposeful for your own soul's correction. There's something in it there for you to learn. And it's an opportunity for you to be resilient and an opportunity for you to grow. So to get the support, I think Jamie should 100% talk to somebody, because this is something that has probably further broken down her confidence. And I completely understand why. But at the same time, I want her to take this as an opportunity and as leverage and as fuel to become a version of herself that she would want to date.
Yeah.
Or that she thinks her ideal man would want to date. And I mean, this guy is obviously got problems, right? So
yeah, I would say a few.
If you're not
he doesn't seem to know how protection works is the first one. But yeah, it's it's a process, and something somebody told me, because I'm a guy who will get really overwhelmed by looking at the end of like where it needs to be or where I want it to be. And somebody told me that it's like you can't build the whole wall at once.
Right.
You can only just do one brick at a time.
Correct.
And that can kind of help, because it's like, it just looks like, oh my God, like this transformation into this person I want to be is like, I've got so much stuff to change and so much I want to be better at, blah, blah, blah. And it seems impossible, but it's not impossible if it's just one brick and then another brick a little bit later.
Correct.
And it just, then next thing you know, you've got an entire wall.
And that, Dakota, is the definition of resilience. Resilience is the ability to start something and believe that you will figure it out. People think resilience means I can go through hard things or I can overcome adversity. Really what resilience is I can start the process of doing something difficult and I trust myself to figure it out along the way. Resilience is the ability in the face of uncertainty to tolerate distress and continue putting one brick on top of another day after day.
Yeah, I haven't thought about it like that. In terms of resilience, that's good.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Good.
I like that a lot. I'm really liking this.
Okay, good. Me
Kevin.
too. Let's keep it rolling.
All right, we've got our third question here from an anonymous sender. TLDR, I, female 22, have been in a 3-year relationship, but it is starting to feel as though I'm just his roommate. We do not do the spicy tango nearly as often as a lot of people would say is healthy, and I don't feel like a partner. I feel more like an object. The question is, how do I explain to my partner that I want to have better intimacy, to feel like partners again and not roommates? How can I also better myself?
Wow. I love that. I think it was a female writer?
Yes.
28-year-old female?
22.
22-year-old female. Okay. Well, I love that you wrote, how can I better myself too? But you answered your own question, because right before that line, you said, how do I tell my partner that I would like for us to have better intimacy so that we feel more like intimate partners and less like roommates? And that is exactly how you do it. You sit down with your partner, you say, hey, I want to ask you about something. Is it just me, or have you noticed that there has been a change in our intimate dynamic? And most likely, if you're feeling it, it's something that the other person is aware of too.
Yeah.
And then you say to him, okay, I'm glad that we're talking about this. I'm glad that we're pointing this out. I would like for us to work on this in order for us to reignite that romantic spark, rather than, because to me, it's sort of starting to feel like we're roommates. We're falling into this really comfortable pattern, which is very common 3 years in, especially if you live together.
Yeah.
But even if not, it's just, some of that initial spark starts to fade, and it really does require work. I always tell people that it requires work to find the right relationship, but it requires significantly more to maintain the right relationship. It's like, it's expensive to buy a Ferrari, but once you have the Ferrari, the amount of work that you're going to have to do to keep the tires and the engine and the oil and the body clean.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
like where the real work begins.
Yeah, daily driving the Ferrari. That's an expensive way to drive a car.
An expensive hobby, exactly. But then you have a Ferrari, right?
Yeah.
So there's an upside to it.
Yeah.
So I think that this young reader needs to approach her significant other and say it exactly the way that she said that in the question.
Yeah.
I think that was beautiful. And also, that's where couples counseling comes in.
Yeah.
Having a third party help facilitate that conversation to
Mhm.
reduce some of the awkwardness, super helpful.
Yeah, because I got to imagine oftentimes it's like in conversations like this, people have been together for years and it's like maybe they feel like roommates. It's like neither party might want to even bring it up because it's
Totally.
scary. It's scary to bring up like a conversation or a topic that could lead to, problems. And so maybe just saying that, like Kevin said, like you had already said it, I want to have better intimacy to feel like partners again and not roommates. Boom. That's exactly what you need to say. And then it might even just be, and then your partner might go, oh my God, I'm so glad you said that. Because I also have been feeling that and I just didn't know how to say it.
100%. And then if you really get lucky, he's just going to rip your pants off right then and there, 4:00 on a Tuesday, stop his Zoom meeting.
Yeah, if you're really lucky, you going to get lucky immediately.
He's just going to tell his boss, Stuart, just a moment, please. Need to attend to some real business. No.
Stuart, I have pressing business to attend to.
Exactly. No, listen, it probably won't go down that way, but he will probably be so grateful that you are bringing this up. He's probably feeling it too. And if it becomes a point of contention, then you bring a couples counselor into the room.
Mm-hmm.
One quick thing that I want to say about that is never talk to your best friends or your family members about your intimate life. In general, if you're having an issue with your partner, never talk to your best friends or your family members about it, because your best friend and your family members, they probably love you too much to be able to have an objective perspective. You're probably going to say something that is going to stick in their minds like gum underneath a desk that is going to be hard for them to forget. So when you're having an issue with your partner, be it about intimacy or anything else, you talk about it with your partner and you talk about it with a couples counselor or an objective third party.
Yeah.
Don't bring your best friends and your family members into it.
Yeah. I would say that's a great golden rule, because man, it gets messy.
Take it from the guy who just celebrated his 5-month anniversary yesterday.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, technically 2 days ago, but yes.
Oh, okay.
And I said yesterday, so that was my fault. I messed that up.
Wow, you're already forgetting your 5-month? That's crazy.
It's, the time flies,
I know we have a couple more questions. I think we have some quick rapid-fire questions.
Yeah.
Also, Kian, I hope I didn't mess up your flow if you had other stories or whatever that you wanted.
Oh,
The
no.
flow is all yours, Kevin.
No, this is
Okay.
great. And honestly, even if we did have more stories, I think you'd be doing Q&A infinitely more quality content right there.
Okay.
For sure. Very insightful.
We go
I'm
with your
sure
flow.
that's not the first time you've gotten that, but
Thank
you're
you so
very
much.
insightful, Kevin.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, I had to redeem myself after I blew the first Q&A with all of the faulty assumptions I made.
No,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah. Well, and again, we wish the engineering spreadsheet man nothing but the best. And
For
it
sure.
feels like you found
Watch
you
him
might have
marry
found
this
yourself in a
girl.
great situation.
Watch him send, okay, my next submission
Yeah.
is she and I are getting married in Fiji.
I mean, I think he really, based on everything we've been saying with the Q&A, is like he has kind of went about it almost perfectly because he's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever this ends up becoming, I'm just going to enjoy having a relationship with this person. And I'm not going to, clearly he's not trying to force it to be anything because all they did was rub legs and hold hands.
Correct.
Playfully, apparently, which I don't know how you do that.
That's how
Well,
it starts.
That's just the start, Dakota.
Yeah, that's just,
That's what Dakota's been doing with his girlfriend for 5
that's-
months.
Yeah.
First base. First base, I rubbed my knee on yours, and we held each other's hands with 3 fingers. I don't even want to tell you what second base is.
We got some positive feedback. Somebody said discussing these questions is better than stories. So thanks.
Yeah, I think this is gold. We're in golden hour right now. We're digging up the gold. What is up with me today?
Every day.
Anyway, Keon, you want to fire off some of the the rapid fire questions?
Yeah. We have a couple rapid fire questions here for you, Kevin.
Do I know these questions?
Probably not. Maybe. Probably. I don't know. That's what these questions are for.
So these are just like, that's not really a story. It's just like a sentence or two.
Okay.
First question is, do you think men should pay on the first date in 2025, or is that outdated?
It's not outdated. I think men should pay on the first date. Call me traditional.
Now, do you think men should pay in perpetuity?
No, I think that is a discussion that the couple needs to have.
Right back to communication versus mind reading.
Correct.
Just communicate on what your partner wants.
Correct. I think that some couples have a much more traditional dynamic in terms of the roles.
Mm-hmm.
Other couples want to feel more like equal partners. And then how they split finances and paying for dates is one of the many pillars that they discuss in terms of what they want their lives to look like.
Mm-hmm.
Couples that last agree on 4 things. They're on the same page about 4 things.
Everybody write this down.
We're going to be tested on this.
1 is how they handle money.
Uh-huh.
2 is how they handle their in-laws.
Right.
3 is their views on religion, even if you're not religious.
Mm-hmm.
And 4 is their views on children. So I can't say as a blanket statement that the man should always pay in perpetuity on every date, but I do believe that on the first date, as a sign of chivalry, which I'm a believer in, and good faith,
Still alive.
it's still alive, and I would recommend the guy pay on the first date.
All right. The Kevin stamp of approval on paying for the first date is official. Now, and you said you've had a lot of Gen Z clients. This question asks, what would you say is the leading cause of Gen Z not getting married or having kids at the same rate as previous generations? Well, that's a hard one, honestly.
That's a great question.
There could be so much.
Watch me say something stupid and blame it on TikTok.
That's what I do every day.
Dude, the number of podcasts and stuff I listen to where like psychology people are like, well, the social media generation, it just drives me nuts.
Well, I do think there is something to like, people's algorithms really influence the way that they're thinking on a day-to-day basis. It's like my girlfriend was getting stressed out because her TikTok algorithm kept giving her all these videos about like people breaking up or like why people broke up. And she was getting nervous about us. And I'm like, stop watching those. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's, of course, technology has an influence, but it's like if I said that when calculators were invented, people stopped having relationships because they were over relying on their calculator. Like it's just a low hanging fruit to blame everything on technology.
Yeah.
I think technology obviously influences our our mindset. But first of all, no, I did not know these questions. So this is excellent because I'm thinking on my feet. The number one reason that people in Gen Z and millennials, by the way, are not getting married or having long-term relationships, particularly in comparison to older generations, is that in this generation, young people start with the thought process, what am I going to get from this relationship? What is this relationship going to do for me? In previous generations, the way people thought was, what do I need to bring to the table in order to show that person that I'm willing to put their needs above my own?
Gotcha. So it's sort of completely flipped itself around.
It's completely flipped itself around. This generation, I won't say is selfish, because I don't think they necessarily have nefarious intentions, but they are self-oriented.
Yeah.
And our generation, I'm 33, you're 30, our generation is very self-oriented. The messaging that we've gotten, the technology that we have, the models that we've seen is all about how do we gratify ourselves,
Yeah.
right? And when was the last time you were asking a friend for dating advice and he said to you, listen, don't think so much about what she's going to do for you or whether she's the right match for you. Think about, is this somebody whose needs you would like to put above your own?
I don't think I've ever heard that. I should have heard that a long time ago.
Okay. And what magic would be created if you thought my goal is to put your needs above my own, and she thought that her goal is to put your needs above hers? Then by default, you both get each other's needs met. You're both putting more into the pot than you're taking out.
Yeah. You guys become the perfect chocolate vanilla swirl ice cream cone.
That's a great way to put it, right?
It's perfect.
But basically, in Gen Z, they are conditioned more to think about taking than they are conditioned to think about giving.
Yeah, I think the big trend right now is if he wanted to, he would, right?
Right.
Or have you heard that one
I have.
going around? Yeah.
I have.
And people, make it into these big, giant things, and it's supposed to just be like, the bare minimum stuff, just like being nice.
Correct.
But then people are like, well, he's not giving me like X, Y, and Z that some other person got. And if he wanted to, he would.
Right. And if he's not giving, or if she's doing this or whatever, they're toxic and they're narcissistic and, they're this, that, and the other, because I'm not getting, I'm not consuming, I'm not receiving. Right. Whereas in previous generations, the way that they thought about a long-term relationship was, this is something that I have to earn through my capacity to give. Right. And people hear that and they go, oh, well, I shouldn't have to prove myself. I shouldn't have to prove that I'm worthy of love. But the only two people who love you unconditionally are your mom and your dog.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Love doesn't have to be conditional, but all relationships are conditional. There's an exchange in a relationship, not in the sense that it's a transaction, but I have to do something for you to meet your needs in order for you to feel that this is worth your time. You have to do something for me to meet my needs in order for me to feel that we're compatible. So the way that people used to think about it was, I need to be focused on what I'm bringing to the table to show that I am valuable and that this is going to be a good match. Instead, this is no particular person's fault. It's just sort of the way times have changed. People are thinking the inverse, which is, you show me what you're going to do for me, and then I'll decide if you're worthy. And that has just resulted in a generation of people who are hopelessly and helplessly single, which is quite sad because it's the opposite of what they want.
Right. It's funny how they, the perspective of like, well, I don't have to prove myself.
But you do.
But every single other person does.
Exactly.
Need to prove to me.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's an interesting window.
So I would just say, as you approach relationships, if you're of Gen Z or if you're a millennial, think about what you can give first and what you will receive second. And if you find somebody who is of a similar mentality, then you're going to have a beautiful relationship.
Yeah. Just listen to Kevin, everybody. As simple as that. And I think we probably have time for one more?
One or maybe two more. Yeah.
One or two more? Okay. I think this next one's pretty good. This question is, what is the biggest red flag people ignore in relationships because they are in love?
Wow. Well, the obvious answer is love bombing, but everybody has heard that a million times. So we're going to do something slightly more original. By the way, a good way to think about love bombing is that the attachment that's being built, the promises that are being made, the words that are being said are premature for the stage that the relationship is actually at. So obviously that's a red flag because somebody can't love you if they've only gone on 3 dates with you. Just, to use a simplistic example. But since everybody already knows that love bombing is a big red flag, I think the biggest red flag that gets overlooked is unwillingness to change. If you ever hear somebody say the words, "This is who I am, take me or leave me," you should run for the hills.
Yeah, but change is so hard. Kevin, how are we supposed to change? Change is so hard to do.
Okay, so that's why this is the most overlooked red flag, the one that nobody considers a red flag, is we have been fed this lie that people are who they are. We've been fed a lie that you should never have to change for a partner. And we've been fed a lie that you should never ask your partner to change.
Yeah, there's so much of that. Just like, well, if they really liked you, they wouldn't ask you to change, and you should never change for your partner. Don't let her change you, bro. Like,
right. That's how you're going to end up single and alone forever. And if somebody says, "This is who I am, I'm unwilling to change," then what they are telling you is that they do not have a growth orientation. They are not capable of taking responsibility for their mistakes. They will not apologize. And it is going to be you who has to bend over backward and contort yourself in all sorts of shapes and sizes emotionally in order to wrap yourself like silly putty around a steel rod that has no flexibility. One of the biggest signs of psychological health is flexibility, which means sometimes you bend to me, sometimes I bend to you. Sometimes even if I don't think I was wrong, I apologize anyway.
Right.
Sometimes even though we have a difference of opinion, we both make a compromise because there's an ebb and flow in order to make this relationship work. The idea that someone should not be asked to change or that you should not have to change is a huge red flag. And it doesn't get talked about enough because we think that if we're asking someone to change or if we're changing ourselves, that means that somehow someone is trying to manipulate or warp our character, right?
Yeah.
The problem is that what most people don't understand is there's a humongous difference between changing who somebody is at their core. Like if you're somebody who's very religious and God and spirituality are very important to you, then yeah, you shouldn't tell someone, "I think we should become atheists," because that's something that's true to your core.
Right.
Versus changing a behavior, which is, I don't like it when you raise your voice or you get intense when you speak. When someone asks you to change something, 95% of the time they're asking you to change a behavior. They're not asking you to change a core trait. But our ego gets so involved and gets so defensive that we think this means you want to change who I am. And the truth is, no, Dakota, I don't want to change who you are. What I want to change is a behavior that's detrimental to our relationship.
Right.
And if you're a healthy person, you will say, if there's something you need me to change, I'll do it too, even if it's hard for me. I'll keep trying until I get it right. I won't turn loose because I want this relationship to succeed. That is a sign of psychological and relational stability. But for some reason, we have accepted it as a foregone conclusion that someone saying, "This is who I am, don't expect me to change," is acceptable. And it's not. It's a huge red flag. Does that make sense?
No, that does. It makes a ton of sense. And honestly, yeah, you don't really ever hear that. In fact, I think I've heard the opposite more than anything.
Yeah.
Or it's like if they try to change you, but it is true. It's like there are some things where it's like, I mean, you said religion, but I'll just be like, well, if my favorite color is red, it's red. And you're not changing my favorite color. But like me personally, I do sometimes forget the volume that I'm talking at. And if it's like, yeah, I want you to be like, so just quieter, like sometimes, like when we're out and about or whatever, then it's like, yeah, that's not them changing your entire being to your core.
For sure.
They're just asking like, hey, could you please modify this behavior,
For sure.
while we're with each other?
I would just advise everybody, really try to put this under a magnifying glass. If you're looking at changing something within yourself, or if you're asking somebody else to change, is it that you're trying to change something about who they are at their core, which most likely is immutable? That's going to be 5% of the time. 95% of the time, the thing that you're looking at changing is a behavior that is just learned. You may think that it's part of your identity.
Yeah.
You may think that it's part of who you are, but that's because you've practiced it over and over again for so long.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that it's actually who you are.
Yeah.
It means that it's a behavior that has taken root.
It's funny that you said that because I just today saw something about how like our nervous system is wired for familiarity.
Correct.
So it's like if it is something like a learned behavior that you've just done for a long time, changing it, your nervous system is literally going to tell you, no, you can't change that. That's like that's what we do. That's a part of us. But it's just your nervous system playing tricks on you. It's just your brain playing a trick on you.
Exactly.
That's great.
And
yeah.
if you want to be in a successful long-term relationship, you have to be ready to attend 1,000 funerals of your old behaviors.
Oh, wow.
And the other person has to have that willingness as well.
Yeah.
And we feel threatened by this. We feel scared to do this.
That just made me scared hearing
Yes.
that. I was like, oh, whoa, that's a good way to put that.
Do you know what that fear is? That's your ego telling you these behaviors make up my idea of who I think I am. I don't want to change them because then I won't know who I am.
Yeah.
Your behaviors are not who you are, especially the negative ones. They're just things that you have learned as a coping mechanism, as a defense mechanism, as a survival mechanism. And you seem like a great guy. I'm sure most of your behaviors are productive.
Oh, shucks, Kevin, thanks.
But
I appreciate that.
But if your girlfriend points out something to you that she believes would be in your benefit or in the benefit of the relationship to modify or to alter slightly, don't let your ego get scared and get small.
Yeah.
And don't have such a fragile ego that you think she's trying to reach in and manipulate you and warp who you are.
Yeah.
I don't know your girlfriend, but assuming she has good intentions, maybe she's just trying to elevate you and the relationship.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't say she's out there trying to change. The biggest thing she's changed was my wardrobe. And she
Okay.
definitely elevated that.
Okay, cool.
So
We can look back on pre-girlfriend episodes and see how you were
Oh
dressing.
no, yeah,
The other
it's
dude, it was
very
like-
noticeable.
Shrek t-shirts every day, which I still have that jacket. I love it. But
You know, what's funny is I wear a lot of black. As you can see, I'm in all black right now. When I started dating my now fiance 2 years ago, she was like, all this black has got to go. Like, we got to get you to start wearing like some blues, some grays, some whites. And I was like, no, like this, black is like, I wear all black. That's like what I do.
I'm in the mob.
Yeah.
We wear all black. I eat lasagna.
spaghetti and
Spaghetti.
meatballs.
Gabagool.
Like it's prosciutto, gabagool, a little cold pasta, a little mozzarella.
Hey. Hey.
By the way, I'm not Italian. I'm Persian, so maybe we should be talking about eating kebabs. And
I feel like that's, kind of like mob adjacent,
Yeah.
like the vibe. Like you could have like the Persian like version of the
Persian's the new Italian. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, exactly.
Dude, Persian Sopranos? Somebody write that down. I got to make a pitch packet for
I think Persian Sopranos was
HBO.
like the Shahs of Sunset. That
Oh, dude.
that stupid show about
What the real estate guys,
The
right?
real estate guys, yeah.
Isn't it the Kardashians?
Kardashians are Armenian, bro. That's racist.
Hey,
Keon.
come on, Keon. Let's have a little class here.
Come on. I
Okay.
thought this was a family channel. But yeah, man, listen, the wardrobe is a silly example, but even something as simplistic as wearing a white shirt instead of a black shirt, like
Mhm.
at first my ego had opposition to that because I thought she was trying to change something that was part of my identity.
Yeah.
But I had made it part of my identity. My ego had integrated my wardrobe into this idea of who I am. And
Yeah.
now like some girl who I just met is not going to change that. Right? But it's so it's so silly because she just wanted me to look better.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think you get the idea.
Yeah, I definitely do. I've definitely taken away a lot from our conversations
Cool, man.
or our conversation here today.
Thank you.
And I believe that's all the time that we've had, that we do have. Man, I'm getting lost in your eyes. I can't.
Thank you, brother.
I've lost my ability.
Stop. He's
speak
getting
clearly.
He's getting married in June. Let the man be.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm sorry. That's so disrespectful.
Kevin, it's been an honor. You've been a great guest. We have some comments just for you. Yeah. Some
Okay.
people are just loving you today.
Hey.
Kevin has been an absolute favorite guest so far from Yekatsliok.
That's actually my mom. Thank you, Mom.
Stella says, when is Kevin coming back?
Aw.
I think someone said, hey, Ming Ming says, dude, Kevin keeps blowing my damn mind. Shell Bell says, Kevin needs a podcast.
Oh, thank you. I have a podcast.
Oh, do you?
I do.
Amazing. Well, Kevin, yeah, no, this is the perfect time to give that plug of where we can find you, your podcast, your information, how people can reach out to you, maybe even be a client of yours. Please, Kevin.
Thank you, Keon.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for all the awesome listeners and for all these comments. It really made my day. I have a podcast. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. Ironically, it's called Nobody Listens to Kevin.
Oh, well, we're breaking that trend here today.
Yeah. I called it Nobody Listens to Kevin because there's this joke that I'll tell my clients things, they won't listen, then they'll come back and they'll be like, God, I should have listened to you. Like, you were totally right.
Yeah. There.
But yeah, please check out my podcast. I'm on Instagram. It's just my name, Kevin Nahai. And TikTok is also my name, Kevin Nahai. And you can reach out to me anytime on my website, which is kevinnahai.com.
Amazing. Thank you,
There you
Kevin.
go.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Kevin.
Appreciate you guys.
It was an absolute pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Hey, don't leave yet. We have bonus stories for you that we think you'll enjoy, so stay tuned for the next one.
I suspected my wife of cheating, so I had our son tested for paternity.
I hope not secretly.
Apologies in advance. This is a very long story, and I'll try to be as detailed yet direct as possible. My wife, female 32, and I, male 27, experienced some relationship problems caused by an ex-boyfriend of hers that I believe to still be affecting us today. For some context, we first met when we were studying overseas and working part-time together at the same restaurant. I'm from Australia and she's from France. By the way, this comes from Je suis on the OK Storytime subreddit. After a few shifts together, we became friends and then eventually started dating. I was 19 and she was 24 at the time. We dated for a little over 3 years before moving back to my home country, and 2 years after moving, we decided to get married. The problem started when my wife and I just got engaged. We decided to do the obligatory social media announcement posts informing everyone about our exciting news. It was around a week later when I was sent a message request by an Instagram account I didn't know, but saw that my wife and the person followed each other. So I thought it was one of her old school friends or something and decided to accept the request. By then, I had gotten over 100 messages from my wife's friends and family I'd never met congratulating us, so I was expecting this message request to be more of the same. Instead of a congratulatory message and an introduction as to who they were, I was sent a bunch of screenshots of messenger chats that were in French and a message that followed saying that I should read these conversations to know who my fiance is. I was feeling that something was a bit off, but still believing that this person was a family member or friend of my wife. That's English wasn't very good. Naively, I translated them thinking they'd just be some cute messages between two people. The topics included the recounting of spicy sleep encounters, spicy sleep acts that they had performed, boyfriends, and how inferior Asian guys are to white guys. I am Asian, by the way. And a little bit of racism.
Yeah, let me take away his manhood too while I'm at it. Let me take away his manhood and be a little racist while I'm at
Just
it.
a little dash of it. I sent a message back to the person asking who the messages were between. They replied saying that it was my new wife and sent 3 spicy sleep tapes. I was in shock. I would be in shock too. And immediately thoughts that she had cheated on me filled my mind. After sitting for a while and trying to comprehend what had happened, I decided that I would watch the videos to try to see if it is actually my wife in them. Later that night, after my wife had fallen asleep, I decided to watch the videos, believing that there would be no way that the woman I had been living with for 5 years could do something like this. But to my disappointment, I confirmed that all videos were of her. The first 2 of the videos appeared to have the same guy, and the third video, a different guy. To say I was furious was an understatement. I had literally watched the woman I wanted to spend the rest of my life with effing not 1, but 2 other guys. I decided that I needed to confront her, thinking that she had cheated on me with a bunch of other guys, and I wanted her to explain to me why she did it. After staying awake and waiting through the entire night and not being able to wait anymore, I woke her up at 6 a.m. and showed her everything that was sent to me and asked her to explain what this all was.
That's crazy. I don't even know what's going on through OP's head right now, because if I got a video of that, I would not want to have a head anymore.
That's true. But we don't know yet if she's cheating on him.
Oh, because there's no dates on it.
Yeah, it could have just been like an angry ex-lover who's trying to be spiteful.
Yeah. Now, as a technical dude, there are ways you can tell when it was made, because like usually files have that like kind of like date with it. I would take it to an IT buddy, take it to an IT buddy chick, if that makes you feel more comfortable, and have him look at the date so you can double confirm. If you don't want to communicate with her, then do that.
She immediately started hyperventilating, then began to cry. She kept repeatedly apologizing and begging me not to leave her, and was like this for a good 10 minutes. After managing to calm her down, she explained that she never cheated on me, and these videos were taken before we had met, and that she didn't even know these videos existed. She could sue this guy.
Yeah, that's just revenge corn.
Yeah, big time. She can totally sue this guy.
10K minimum.
Yeah. Also just like disgusting that guy was like, I'm going to try and ruin this girl's life. She also tried reassuring me that the messages were between her and her best friend, and they would share everything about their lives with each other. She said the things they talked about were from so long ago that it felt like a different person had written the messages. She kept repeating that the things she said in those messages made her feel deeply ashamed and regret. It was so embarrassing to her that she ever acted and spoke like that. To try to prove she wasn't cheating, she showed me the chat history between her and her best friend and found the exact same section of the conversations in the messages between them and saw that they were from long before we had met. She also explained to me that the guy who sent me the message on Instagram was her first boyfriend from high school in France. He was apparently very emotionally and mentally manipulative during the time they were together, and for her to get any sort of affection or praise from him, she would do what he wanted and let him do whatever he wanted to her. She said she didn't understand how he was able to get the screenshots or the spicy sleep tapes that he didn't even take. That adds another layer.
Yeah.
You would assume that it was like the tapes that he took, but no, he somehow got them from a third party.
Either someone's lying or someone needs to be thrown in the deep depths of jail.
Yeah. We eventually came to the conclusion that he had hacked into her account somehow. She said that the 2 guys in the video were short-term Korean boyfriends from when she first moved overseas. To say I was relieved was an understatement, but I still had the feeling of disgust when I looked at my wife. But this happened before your relationship. I mean, you must have assumed that she'd had prior relationships before you.
Coming from a guy that has a loving relationship, if I ever saw those kind of videos from my partner, I would want to crawl into a hole and cry.
But it would be pretty like awful to break up over that.
It would.
Over the next few months, I tried pretending that everything was okay, but I couldn't get over what I had seen. She was a completely different woman in my eyes. I know body count shouldn't matter, but reading the messages of how many guys she slept with really bugged the crap out of me. You need to go to therapy over that. We had told each other our body counts in the past, and I wasn't bothered with it at all. She literally could have told me any number, and I think I would have been fine with it as long as it was the truth. But now that I know that not only did she lie about the amount of men she had been with, but the fact that half of those men were guys I knew quite well and considered friends destroyed me. That adds a little bit of a little layer of context there.
If the person you're currently seeing hooked up with your girl best friend, the one that starts with a slithery snake. Imagine if that happened.
I mean, I would like to know, yeah.
You'd like to know, but would you feel hurt?
No. A little awkward. I don't think I would feel hurt if it happened before.
Happened before?
Yeah, I don't think I would feel...
And he didn't tell you. And he knew that you guys were friends.
No, that's what I'm saying. If they didn't tell me and then I started dating this person, I'd be like, that's weird.
Okay, cool.
I eventually told her how I felt when she blew up at me one day for not wanting to have spicy sleep with her. She started crying again and asked if we should cancel the wedding. I said we should consider it, but not act on anything yet, hoping the way I was feeling was just a phase and that I would eventually get over it. The last thing I wanted was for my friends and family to ask why we're not getting married anymore and me having to explain the things that happened. We agreed to go to couples counseling together with the goals of fixing our relationship and getting married on the date we had set before that crap happened. We found couples counseling to be very helpful, and one of the best things we both liked while at our sessions was we were able to try verbally expressing what we were feeling and literally have it translated perfectly into a cohesive explanation by our couples counselor.
Oh, nice.
That's great. See, this is what you needed. You just needed some therapy.
Like, why do you never see the ants in the house? And then the counselor would say, it worries me that little things are happening around the house, but you don't take time or intention to notice them in order to take care around the house.
Why are you so focused on the ants?
It worries me that you are always worried about the little things that are happening and you don't take a step back to really appreciate the full house. Maybe a couples counselor.
After 10 sessions, we had been given a list of strategies for us to use together to mend our relationship. And I had been referred to a psychologist for some private sessions that I thought were super beneficial. At this stage, everything was almost back to as it was before I was sent the messages. But I honestly never quite felt the same or trusted my wife again the way I used to.
Ooh. So he feels good as a person, but the relationship is still broken.
That sucks because besides lying about the people that she hooked up with because they didn't know each other and stuff, like no agreements were violated.
Yeah.
We did end up going through with the wedding, believing that my wife's past shouldn't affect my feelings towards her, and that if we did end up breaking up, it would effectively mean that our ex succeeded in his objective and would have got what he wanted. I would say if you have any doubts, don't get married.
You don't, or push it back.
Yeah, you don't have to get married right now. About a year after our wedding, my wife planned a trip to France to visit all the family and friends. I was originally meant to go with her, but couldn't as I had just been given a promotion and had only been in the position about a month. While she was on her trip, I get another message on Instagram from her ex saying she only likes me, followed by another spicy sleep tape of her. Okay, one, why would they have not have blocked this guy after that whole debacle?
And two, how does this guy time it to where she's in France and he's back home?
Maybe she's posting on her story. Why aren't they unfollowing or blocking each other?
Yeah.
After watching for a few seconds, I just assumed it was another old video that was taken and blocked him. I planned to show my wife what he sent, but ended up totally forgetting about the whole thing. How did you forget about that?
It's happened before. He's gone through so much sessions. He's like, I don't want this to ruin whatever little we have.
Fast forward to today. We have been married for almost 2 years now and have a baby on the way. During one of her obstetrician appointments that I went to her with, there was talk of her possible due dates and around what day she would have conceived.
We should have maybe have worried about that video.
While sitting there and listening, I was doing the maths in my head and realized something wasn't adding up. The period she would have had to have conceived in was when she was back in France visiting her family. I stayed quiet and convinced myself that I obviously wasn't calculating correctly because I've always been crap at maths. But I remembered what her ex had sent me and had a gut feeling that something was very wrong. Eventually, my insecurities got the better of me and I ended up watching the video he sent, trying to find any clues of when it was taken. Unfortunately, I concluded that the video must have been taken at some point when we were together, as I could see a scar on her pubic area that she had given herself by waxing when we were on our honeymoon. After thinking about this for a while, I've decided not to confront her with what I know. I'm not going to ask friends or family for support. I'm not going to go to counseling. The less people that know, the better. I don't think I can live with the shame of people knowing that my wife is giving birth to another man's child. I'm going to wait for the baby to be born to see if it's mine before I make any final decisions. Thank you to everyone who read everything I had to say. I really needed to get this out, and not being able to tell anyone what I was going through was driving me insane. And there is an edit, and I think multiple updates. But do you have any thoughts about what OP should do?
OP. Oh, I was going to ask a question to you. Is he in the wrong for going behind her back and getting this paternity test, knowing what he knows now? Because he spent probably hours in sessions, hundreds of dollars in these sessions getting over it, and he still had a gut feeling that something was wrong.
I mean, I don't really love like any sort of sneakery.
Yeah.
However, she's already lied to him multiple times, and it seems like she's pretty good at convincing people that she's telling the truth, even when she's lying.
Yeah.
So it seems like he has enough probable cause.
We're doing it without her consent.
I mean, honestly, if you're already there, it's like your relationship is over. So just say like, hey, I want the DNA test and I want a divorce. Like, it doesn't seem like you can ever get back that trust. Even if you find out that your kid's yours or that she didn't cheat on you in this instance, I don't think that you'll ever trust her in the same way that you did. So honestly, I would say the best thing is to just confront her.
Yeah.
Edit. I've had a few comments questioning the timeline. Our wedding was in September 2022. Her trip to France was in mid-December 2023, and she was there for about 5 weeks. The due date for the baby is in late September.
I was born in late September, so I
Conceived in December.
that happened.
Update 1. First of all, I would like to thank everyone who commented with advice and also those people who criticized my thoughts and actions. Reading multiple perspectives about my situations helped open my narrowed view and I think gave me a more balanced perspective. I'm not too sure how I should write this update since there's so much information that was dropped on me, and I'm not too sure how to put it into words. It honestly feels like my life was pulled out from under me, and I'm not too sure how to comprehend it all at the moment. A lot of people criticized me for not telling my wife about the latest video. And a lot of you also suggested that I check the EXIF data to see what date the video was created, which is what you said. And it seems like we don't need to get a third party to look at this tape.
If you didn't know how to do that.
Yeah, but maybe
Google
you just say
search
like,
can help.
hey, how do I do this? And they're like, what's the video? And you're like, I don't need to show you. It's okay.
Yeah. But my question, another thing too, is if it was sent over Instagram, I don't know if he could get that data.
Yeah. Following everyone's advice, I did both. I first checked the metadata to see the creation date, which showed that it was taken on the 1st of January 2024 at 1:18 a.m. It was sent to me the 6th of January 2024.
I know for a fact that baby is going to be born on September 27th.
I kept in mind that people were saying that data can easily be edited and didn't take the newfound information too seriously, even though it looked like a relatively recent video.
You can edit that information.
Yeah.
But not a lot of people know how.
But also, I think there's been a lot of kind of evidence.
The scar, the time. Yeah.
After seeing the metadata, I sat her down on the couch to tell her about her video. There we go. This is the confrontation we needed. I went into the conversation fully prepared with a list of things to say I had made with my therapist. Good. I made sure to not make accusations or even make anything I said sound like an accusation, and was 100% prepared for her to blow up at me for not telling her about it sooner. My therapist gave me a guide of how I should deliver the information and how I should attempt to give her back control of the situation by offering to show her the video, letting her watch it on her own, and delete it in front of her when she was ready. I started by saying that I had received another spicy sleep tape from her ex, and when I received it, then I went into why I didn't tell her immediately after receiving it or after she got back from her trip. After giving my explanation, I asked her if she wanted to see the video, which she said yes to. So I gave her my phone, and she pretty much immediately started the video as soon as I handed my phone over to her, which didn't give me a chance to get up and leave the room to let her watch it on her own. As soon as I heard the audio from the video, I immediately stood up and was turning to walk to a different room when she grabbed my pant leg and started profusely apologizing. I said there was nothing to apologize for, as this was from before she met me, and that I should be apologizing to her for keeping it from her. So he's kind of giving her, he's like, is she going to lie to me again?
I don't know how I feel about that one.
She asked me why I decided to tell her now, and I told her the truth about my concerns about the due dates and how it wasn't quite making sense in my head, and that's when she lost it. She grabbed my hand and kept saying it was a mistake and that she wasn't thinking straight because she was wasted. My heart just dropped, and I knew instantly what she meant by her repetitive ramblings. I told her to tell me what exactly happened or I'd leave immediately. Long story short, she cheated on me when she went on her trip to France with her ex that was sending me the screenshots and videos. Okay, really quick. How dumb do you have to be to go cheat with the person that you already know sent your partner video? They ended up having spicy sleep after catching up at a New Year's Eve party they were both at.
Things can happen at a New Year's Eve party, let me tell you.
They're from a small town in central France with only a population of a few thousand, and apparently they had seen each other at the local supermarket a few days after her arriving at her hometown. My wife and her ex are from the same friendship group. They all went to the same kindergarten, primary school, middle school, and high school, which is how they ended up at the same New Year's Eve party. She also told me that her ex had admitted to hacking into her Facebook account to gain access to the spicy sleep tapes she had made and shared with her other exes. She sent them through Facebook? 1, she sent them through Facebook. 2, he admitted to hacking into her stuff, and she was like, yeah, I'm gonna sleep with this man. Although calling what he did hacking makes it sound quite sophisticated, she hadn't changed her password since high school, and he still knew them when he got access to all her accounts. So effing dumb. It seems to be the theme of the story is her just being stupid. She begged me not to divorce her and tried to bargain with me, promising it would be the only time she ever cheated, promising that she'll be the best wife to me, letting me have spicy sleep with any and as many women as I'd like. I said I would only consider staying if she would do 2 things. Give me her phone so I can go through her messages and get a paternity test done. She instantly agreed to the paternity test, but was a bit more hesitant about handing over her phone, but eventually agreed. While looking through her phone, I found more evidence that she cheated on me on New Year's Day, as well as evidence that she had cheated on me one other time from her period tracker app. She's so dumb.
Wait.
She uses the app to track for her periods and spicy activity.
Because there are some I've seen, I don't know this but I've seen someone like, they answer questions when they're about to be on their period.
Yeah, well, it's good to, like, if you track that, then you know when your period should come, and then if it doesn't come, yeah. But she's, I guess, smart in some ways and a really bad cheater.
Yeah, get another phone and track it on another phone if we're going to be doing that.
I just had to go to the dates where I wasn't in the same country as her and see if she had spicy sleep or not. Unfortunately for her, she was very diligent with keeping track of her spicy activities. By this point, I had already made up my mind about the relationship and just left. I'm currently staying at a hotel and will be moving into my apartment that I have been trying to rent out for a while. I've spoken to both my solicitor and my wife and have agreed to go to the mandatory counseling in order for me to be able to go through with the divorce, which will start in October. We've also agreed to get the paternity test done after the baby is born, and I got my in-laws plane tickets to come to Australia earlier than originally planned so they can look after their daughter. And there is a second update 3 months later.
Oh my gosh. So she did cheat.
Yeah. And the baby's probably not his. Which is like complicated, but like if it's not yours, then it's like a clean break.
At least she has someone that wants her back.
Moral of the story, don't cheat. There's a couple morals. Don't cheat. If you do cheat, be smarter than this. And third moral of the story is don't marry someone that you have doubts about.
There we go.
Because they might be cheating on you.
Yes. I think I could write a book on how to cheat correctly, sadly.
It is sad.
Yeah.
Update 2. It's kind of like a Criminal Minds.
Yeah.
Like getting into the mind of a serial unalive.
Yeah.
But there is an update 3 months later. It's been quite a while since my last post, and over the last month, I've been getting so many people asking for an update on my life, but more specifically asking about the results of the paternity test. A lot has changed since my last update, especially the living arrangements with my wife. I can happily say that I am the father.
Okay.
I'm happy for you.
Me too.
Definitely sucks that you're going to have to figure out this whole divorce stuff, but like,
That's good. That's good.
I was with my wife in the hospital birthing suite when my son was born and stayed with her the 5 days at the maternity ward. We got a paternity test, even though I was fairly sure that he was mine when he was born. He looks a bigger-eyed version of me when I was a newborn. About a week after getting the swabs done, the positive parentage result came back. Before my son was born, my wife and I had been living separately and only having interactions by her sending me daily messages, wishing me well and wishing me goodnight. After my son was born, we were still living apart, but I would go over to help feed and change him, and we would still have minimal interactions and would only really talk to each other once a week for mandatory marriage counseling that we had to go to in order to get a divorce. We had seen psychologists from 2 different clinics, and I feel like they were both trying to gaslight me into thinking that I was being unreasonable for wanting to divorce my cheating wife And one of them had even said that I shouldn't expect a modern marriage to be completely monogamous in this day and age. That's crazy.
They went to a French one. Whoever this person was definitely French.
I don't think they're in France.
Well, I would like to think that this person is French, but they grew up in their childhood in France.
First sessions of counseling at the first clinic seem pretty standard. A lot of us telling each other how we feel with the counselor in the background, only speaking when providing prompts to get us talking. If the counseling session continued as it was, it would have been fine. But as soon as she suggested that we should accept the idea of bringing other people into the bedroom to better understand and connect with one another is when I started looking for a different psychologist. Did your wife find this psychologist? And she was like, oh, this one's great. She comes really highly recommended by all of the cheaters I know. The second psychologist we saw spent 2 sessions trying to convince me that it's normal for married couples to have spicy sleep with people outside of the marriage, and that it would be selfish of me to make the baby grow up without a father figure in the home, even if he isn't mine. This was before we got the paternity test results back. Where are you finding these psychologists? This is terrible advice.
Yeah.
From that moment on, I decided that there was no point in me going to marriage counseling. I told my wife that I'd put the divorce proceedings on hold only if she agreed to sign a postnup, which she immediately signed as soon as I gave them to her. My plan is to just wait a year before filing for divorce without any restrictions and BS mandatory marriage counseling. And now at least my assets are somewhat protected. Currently, I have moved back in with my wife, but are still sleeping in separate rooms. I decided to move back in just to make it easier for me to spend time with my son and to also be able to look after him when my wife and her parents need a break. After being with him for what is almost a month now, I decided that I would be physically present in my son's life and help raise him. I believe that it is my duty as his biological father to give him the best life possible, no matter the discomfort I feel of having to interact with his mother. But I love when you guys interact with episodes, with stories just like this, and you can hear more on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Just search up OK Storytime.
Yeah.
And there is a little bit left to this story. What I am trying to think about now is how that is going to be possible after the divorce and how that will impact his emotional and mental development. Are there other people out there who were able to raise their children this way? And if so, how are you coping with the arrangement? And thank you for all those who were concerned about my love life, but nothing is happening. I haven't thought about dating or spicy sleep since finding out about my wife's cheating. Edit, I'm still going to get a divorce. I'm just waiting until the courts allow me to file for divorce without having to go through mandatory marriage counseling, which in some places is like a year.
Oh, wow. But they've already been through a lot of counseling.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I guess it doesn't matter if you had previous counseling. The second you initiate it, you need to go to counseling. That's kind of smart.
I have also made my wife sign a postnuptial agreement so I can save as much of my assets as possible when we do divorce. And that is the end of that story.
That's it. My childhood friend offered intimacy with me and my husband. Taking it was the biggest mistake of my life.
Dang, don't do friendcest.
I wish I had the stomach to write everything that happened down, and I'm not sure why I even feel like sharing it here, but maybe making this anonymous because I feel ashamed of everything that transpired. When I was in middle school, I wasn't sure if I was bi, but I had a friend who experimented. She was much more into me than I was into her, and I cut things off because it was awkward. My parents were religious and it felt wrong. By the way, this comes from u/deleted on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So fast forward to being 24 years old and married with a baby. This girl re-enters my life. Freshly divorced from her husband and wanting to rekindle our friendship. She's hot and ready. I don't know how we got to talking, but she suggested a party of 3 with me and my husband. Obviously, my husband was over the moon that he was going to have an opportunity with 2 women. And I was going to experience a woman fully and discovered that my part of spirituality as an adult. Looking back now, that was the biggest mistake of my life.
Seems like he was too excited.
She came to our house and things went well, but she kept telling me I was the one that got away and was making unwanted advances with me emotionally.
She's in love with you, you're in love with your husband, and your husband's in love with her. That's a proper love triangle.
She came out of a lifeless bedroom marriage and was super into all things spicy sleep related. and my husband had been disappointed with the blip in our spicy sleep life because all of my hormones, postpartum, and adjusting to a life with a child. This girl entered my life when my baby was a little over a year old, and I told both of them I was uncomfortable with the situation and I apologized if I let anyone on, but I no longer wanted to participate. At this point, she had no job and was kind of posted up in my house for about a week or so, and she took it really hard to leave my home. She was trying to do my chores and be a homemaker while I was at work. I was just so uncomfortable. A few weeks after we ended things, I found out I was pregnant with our second child, and this really set in stone that she had no business in our relationship or life. I caught my husband talking to her a few times after we cut things off, and I made it clear that that was a boundary. He claimed she was sad and he felt bad about how we ended things. I did not want him to cross these boundaries, and he assured me and he would ignore her if she called. I don't want him talking to her. I did not want her reaching out to him. I established this with both of them, but apparently neither one of them respected that, which I wouldn't learn until about 2 years later. You know what 2 years ago was? 2023.
2 years ago, I was in college.
To give a better timeline, I cut her off in April of 2022. I found out I was pregnant in May 2022. It wasn't much of a conversation, but my husband and I realized we needed to move closer to family because we couldn't afford to stay where we were at the time with 2 children, to quit my job to raise them both or put them both in daycare. I also can't afford to quit my job. We started making plans to move in July of 2022, and we eloped. August 2022, I moved in with his parents 20 hours away from our home. He stayed in our home while he looked for a job so he could keep bringing in a paycheck and we could sell our house.
I don't trust him. He's not going to be alone in that house.
It'll get sad and lonely, and he's going to find a way to make it not sad or lonely. He didn't find a job until the end of December 2022, and we did long distance, only seeing him 3 times during that time. It was really difficult because I was heavily pregnant and my daughter had never been away from him like that. We had the baby in January of 2023, and things have been off for us for all of 2023 and into 24. I saw pictures of her on his phone.
What? That's like caught red-handed.
When he opened his phone in 2022, Christmas Eve, and he insisted that it was from when we were talking, all 3 of us together.
Liar. That's easy to fact check. Just look at the photos. Just be like, okay, and then show me the photos.
Yep, show me the metadata.
Show me the metadata. Let me see. Cough it up.
He deleted everything and said he was embarrassed about reminiscing on the past. But these things were photos I'd never seen. When we unpacked our house, I found her underwear in a hamper. I knew they weren't mine. He gaslit me and told me that they must have been from when she was involved and they got all tangled up in our things. I knew this wasn't true because they were in the laundry basket with the sheets that he took off the week he packed.
This is so obviously lies.
Now it's March 2024, and I'm really not big on going through phones. I know it's a violation, but I have his code, and my baby walked over with his phone and handed it to me.
You're getting the baby involved? You got a little baby spy? She's like, okay, son, I need you to go find your papa's phone. Act all cute, like you're just going to play with it, and then bring it to me. Have him unlock his phone. Bring it to me. Thank you.
I haven't looked at it in a really long time, and I just felt like I needed to. This was all last weekend, and I opened up his phone, and the last thing he was looking at was a journal. I was really confused at this, but it was a journal entry about, I miss him so much. I really want to be with him. He wants to make it work with his wife and his family, but I think about him and all of our times together every day.
So she's switching up. She used to be in love with OP. Now she's in love with OP's husband.
I saw her email sharing it with, and then realized this girl wrote in a journal that she shared with him on a Google Drive since mid 2022.
Why are you sharing your diary? And she's like, look, I read about you every day. Dear diary, I want to steal my friend's husband.
I have hundreds of pages of her journal entries documenting their conversations and all their meetups with one another. While I was living with his parents, pregnant with his baby, and raising his daughter, he was shacked up with her, living a second life in our home. And he kept telling me he was having trouble finding a new job, but I wonder if he just didn't want to leave his life with her.
Of course he didn't. He's been over the moon about the whole situation from the start.
I know discovering an affair is heart-wrenching for everyone, but I don't know anyone who's ever discovered it in this way. So
That's a
new one.
lot. Oh yeah. First you get your baby involved, and then you find hundreds of pages of journal entries. That's a movie right there. She's already written you the script.
I read all of her most personal thoughts about my husband, thought about moving to our town. They had a very naughty relationship and no judgment to that lifestyle, but it was extremely disturbing to read her calling him Natty, talking about wearing a collar, him leaving bruises on her, him peeing on her,
They're
and
playing
a
water
bunch of weird
sports.
fetish things. These were things I would never do. I'm so devastated. We have 2 children together, and he was carrying on this relationship with her when we were getting married. He talked with her up until 2 days before I found the journal entries. It seemed like he was trying to cut her off, but she was trying to manipulate him into continuing to talk to her through her desperate journal entries. I am so traumatized by everything I just read, and I just don't know how to move forward. I kicked him out of the house and he's staying with his parents, but I can't afford to live on my own. I can't even afford the divorce paperwork filing fee from lawyers. I have my own job and our finances are not intertwined, but I am just struggling every day thinking about everything she wrote. He's begging me to stay with him, and I feel like my mind is made up that I don't want to be with him because he did this to me, but I also can't imagine raising my children without him. He's gotten into therapy and wrote his whole plan on what he wants to do to make things better, but I just don't think it will be enough. She wrote about how he put his hands together when he's thinking about her, the look in his eyes, and the way his hands feel, his tattoos, his everything. I can't look at him without hearing her words. I feel like maybe I could have gotten over it if it wasn't a childhood friend. And maybe it was just the time we were apart from one another, but he spoke with her, spicy texting her through all of 2023 and seemingly only tried to cut contact with her at the end of the year.
You didn't cut contact with her. Like,
He
you
didn't.
said that she messaged him like 2 days before you found the stuff. He can say that he wants to like make amends and fix things all he wants because he got caught. He's not actually going to change.
He told her he would call her on a monthly basis and that all of her journal entries between their calls were so pathetic and begging him to want her more than me. She was longing for him and what he would do to her. The last time he met up with her, she was on a business trip 4 days before a second baby was born.
He met up with her 4 days before your child was
Yeah,
born.
on a business trip. And if you guys are ever on a business trip and you want to hear more stories like this, search us up on any podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Just search up OK Storytime for more stories like this.
Yeah, no, divorce this man. Divorce this man. He is only saying that he's going to make changes because he got caught. I mean, it's going to be tricky to raise
yeah.
these kids on your own, but, you know, he's still going to be involved probably as a parent, hopefully.
Hopefully.
And you can still co-parent. A lot of people do it effectively. It's hard. It's different. It'll be better than being in a relationship with a man who clearly doesn't care about you.
Facts. I really don't know the point of me writing this, but I feel like this group of people might be able to give me some comfort or advice. Or I don't know. Last night was my first night away from the kids as I have implemented a time sharing schedule for them to stay with him at his parents', and it was so difficult being away from them. I know it will get better with time, and I know what I need to do. I'm just struggling. Girl, you know what you need to do?
Just
Get in that gym,
yeah.
feel better, work on yourself, focus on yourself.